Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is David Nates, and today I'm going to speak about the topic of 5 tips to build your social media following. Internet 2 decades ago was a novelty, especially because people needed to have a computer to access it. Even though I grew up having a desktop, I do realize that back in those days, people might have used gaming consoles, but it doesn't mean that they ever had the courage to venture into DOS. With the introduction of visual-based OSs such as Windows or OS X in the 90s, people had an easier pathway into computers. But even with all of that, when internet started to get adopted in the mid-90s, it wasn't as developed as now. It was much slower. Also, people were still trying to figure out how to make best use of it. Actually, some of the first websites that survived from the beginning of the internet to now are websites such as eBay or Amazon, even though Amazon started out as a website that only sold books. Times have changed, and with faster internet being introduced, video streaming followed, and with the availability of having internet on one's cell phone, pretty much everyone started to be able to use the power of the internet, even if they didn't have a desktop or a laptop. The fact of being able to stream videos and search pretty much any subject has become extremely necessary to people all over the world, no matter rich or poor. Since the late 2000s, with the vast adoption of platforms such as YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and many other websites that have now disappeared, remember MySpace? Well, these sites paved the way into our modern world where people are able to stream content filmed on their phone or simply filmed by themselves and share it all over the interweb, and thus creating brands for themselves through videos, pictures, and writing. In the beginning, I certainly didn't realize that all of these people sharing stuff on the internet would eventually become social media megastars. And if you're watching this video, I'm pretty sure that you're curious as to how they reached such a high number of followers and might even be aspiring to become an influencer yourself. In total honesty, I'm doing these videos because I love sharing content, but also because I would love to be an influencer myself. I'm not scared to admit that. I've said this quote from Paulo Coelho before, but I'll say it again. When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. In order to become an influencer, we need to understand what it entails. Basically, an influencer is someone with a strong social media following where fans, followers, subscribers go for inspiration and knowledge in a certain subject area. They provide expertise in their topic and motivate people to achieve their goals. Now that we know that, let me share with you my top 5 tips that I've learned about social media from having created my YouTube channel on September 6th, 2019. Tip number 1, develop a strategy. You've probably heard it before since it pretty much applies to all things that take a bit of effort in life. But consistency is key. Building a following and keeping them engaged usually takes time. If you look at YouTube or Instagram, for example, once you watch a video on a specific subject, the algorithm will keep on suggesting you other videos that are similar to the one you previously saw. This type of AI learning is similar on platforms such as Facebook, Amazon, eBay, where little advertisements will pop up somewhere on your internet browser. Basically, it all comes down to how much engagement your video can garner and how binge-worthy they are, kind of like a Netflix marathon. All social media platforms have a way of seeing which channels have the most held attention spans. This is why consistent posting is key to building an audience. If you think about it, it's the same strategy that television networks use to broadcast their sitcoms and series. Keep it consistent for as long as possible and people get used to watching that show. Going too long without posting stuff risks making the audience forget your channel or social media page. Number 2, laser focus your topics. Social media is a wide term with many platforms that fall under it. Sticking to only one platform isn't usually a good idea. It's kind of like putting all your eggs in one basket, or the number 1 rule of the stock market: have a diversified portfolio. Using and understanding the best practices to each website will give you a cutting edge over other people. For example, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest are more visual mediums. LinkedIn favors more professional content, whereas Twitter is about having instant updates. YouTube, being a video platform, is extremely visual too, even down to the thumbnail of the video. But adding a good description is also important in order to diversify the keywords associated to one's video. Human beings are visual creatures. Either way, no matter how wonderful your posts are, be sure to keep a tab on not flooding one's feed. Think of the spam emails that we receive or the telemarketers calling our phones. They're usually unwelcome. People like to watch and see what they choose to watch and read. If they feel overwhelmed with too much information or feel invaded, they will definitely turn away from it. Number 3, engage with your audience. The difference between series, movies, and any show being streamed on the platform of your choice is the fact that people on social media websites such as YouTube need to feel like they are even more approachable than the big brands. Whatever video or photo is being posted will usually have a comment section. This means that interacting with the people commenting on one's profile is important. How you have to look at it is that your page is your brand. This means that knowing what the audience wants and being able to take their suggestions is important. Even big corporate companies take suggestions from the people buying their products, but they usually do it in a more confined space where they pay people to tell them what they like or dislike in their product. At the same time, they have people who are actually hired in their offices in order to answer comments wherever they are selling their product. The fact of responding to messages, no matter if you are a big brand or not, is a way of creating trust between your audience and yourself. At the same time, if there are concerns, being able to troubleshoot your brand shows determination in creating a good product. It's sometimes hard to think of your Instagram or your internet videos as a product, but they are just that. Number 4, use all the tools available to you. When you look at people who have hundreds of thousands of followers, you know that it didn't just happen by luck. I can guarantee you that there was a ton of research and a lot of tools or software used in order to help them grow their following. There are 2 main areas to focus on with tools in social media, which are analytics and automation. Number 1, analytics is extremely important because they allow a user to get stats about your different social media accounts, but will give you certain stats on other accounts too. For example, I love using TubeBuddy because it just unlocks a lot of YouTube features, which lets me see keywords of videos from other YouTubers, stats, recommendation on what keywords to use. TubeBuddy is the plugin that I use, but there are many other plugins available. By using these plugins, you'll be able to figure out better ways of creating your posts, which also will help you get comments and also in more interaction with other people. By having better insight on one's account, you are given the power to figure out what engages the audience the most. Again, it's not about what you like, but about giving the audience what they want. Number 2, automation. These are tools that will allow you to connect all your accounts. A good tool that you can use is called IFTTT, which is a freeware web-based service that creates chains between the most popular apps such as Facebook and Twitter. There are many different ways of connecting apps together, but by being able to link them together, you have more control on being able to follow up on a variety of social media platforms simultaneously. Remember, it's not how hard you work, but how smart you work. Number 5, connect with other influencers. One of the best ways to gain a bigger media following is to surround yourself with other people creating content. Myself, living in Los Angeles, I hear about networking parties pretty much every week. It's cool to go to a couple of parties, but I've noticed that these places aren't usually the best places to actually make really good connections. Don't get me wrong, you can meet good people, but I found that going to acting classes or even sometimes sports classes create better bonds with the people going to these places. The reason that these places create bonds is because you often need to help each other or sometimes want to learn a skill that somebody else is doing. By asking questions, you create connections. I'm in Hollywood, so a lot of people are content creators, so it's easy to meet them in these settings. I've personally made some of the best movie connections training martial arts and gymnastics. Now, if you don't have the luxury of being in a big city filled with actors, another good way to gain a social media following is by actually connecting with influencers that you follow or admire. Simply commenting on their posts, resharing their tweets, and engaging with them online can prove very effective, especially if the videos and photos you make are similar in topics and structures as them. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to subscribe and hit the like button. As you can tell from all the tips I illustrated, the most important thing is finding your market and sticking to a plan with consistent releases. If you do all of these tips, I'm sure that you will create an internet presence with time. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.